It's interesting, it's Easter Sunday, and often I'm filled with joy, and today I have tears. And those tears are cleansing tears. They're tears to wash away the world I see that has no meaning for me. They're tears that invite me to look for the light in you and in all that is. They're gentle, sweet tears of forgiveness. It's only in forgiveness that I can be born again, that I can see anew, that I can start each day as springtime in my life. Not faking or pretending or adding more unto me. But tears where I want to see and be the real me. Not a body, a presence of the Holy One I am. And you are too. For me, forgiveness is the key to resurrection, to new life. Forgiveness meaning to wash away what we call the sins of the world, the forgetfulness, the craziness, the pleasure-seeking, the need to fix someone or something, to try to make the body stay alive when it served its holy purpose. So if you have tears with me, let those tears fall and see them as healing and holy to clear the way. Because God is living in you now and is calling us to awaken from the tomb of darkness we have created in our forgetfulness. And if you have joy in you now, perhaps you have remembered that innocent, sweet place of the child that knows only safety and love, that knows only beauty and purpose, that knows they live in the sanctuary of God's loving heart. Yesterday we were singing and playing some self-realization fellowship, Ananda Kriyananda chants, Lord, I am thine, I am thine, I am thine. And often when we hear about this place and the way we have given devotion to the holy ones, we leave ourselves out. Sometimes we set ourselves aside as though in some way we're not a part of that. They're separate from us. They're different than we are. But you are the ones. You, me, we're the ones. The ones that we've been waiting for. How many of you actually know the guy we call Jesus? And I'm talking about know Jesus. Not many. Thank you for raising your hands, those who raised your hands. Eventually, by the way, yeah, I know Jesus, right? And I don't just mean Jesus because of words written in a book. I mean you know Jesus. Robert and I talk about him in a way that sounds real familial because he's really familiar, and he is a guy. He also lived a really interesting life, probably somewhat like you. It's just that it seems like he knew what he was doing all the time. So for me, that is the darkness of forgetfulness, is you pretend like you don't have a clue. And you're just covering up, walking along, blind with the blind, thinking that somehow you're going to make it through. Make us through to what? This talk is called something about eternal life. Do you even know what that is? Do you believe in it? So I'm gonna say some stuff about this guy, this friend, brother. When we were doing the meditation, I actually felt like I have bathed him and been in his presence, and therefore feel him in my heart, in my life. It's okay. It's okay. One of the things that Jesus loved was he loved kids. And if you look, when you go through the potluck line, I put together a collage of pictures of Jesus with kids. And it is a sweet place. If you haven't noticed it, make sure you look today. Right as you enter the potluck line, as we come in, it's against the wall. Jesus had a mission and a purpose, as do you, whether you know it or not. When you live that mission and purpose, every step you take, every move you make, every word you speak is on purpose and meaningful, not just to you, but to the world in which you have shown up. The other thing about his holy work is he kept moving on. And I don't know if you know much about him. I said to Robert, have you ever thought of Jesus, our friend, as sitting? He was moving on. And some of you spend a lot of time sitting or laying down. Jesus was a mover and a shaker. And he kept moving, and he didn't look around about who he was going to get approval from. He kept moving on, and when he heard to speak, he spoke, and whoever was there got to hear him. He also was someone that believed in you and in everyone. What some would call sick or dying or sinning or prostitutes and the tax collectors, and a lot of stories about how he liked to hang out with diversity, which, by the way, I do too. Because often those who are in the most trouble are the most willing to learn. And the people that have created a nice comfort zone, a little safe place for themselves, very often are content in just being ignorant and thinking they know. Somebody laughed about that one too. It is pretty funny in there, because a lot of us really like comfort a lot. So stop and look at this Jesus story. Young man. We mostly know about him, at his birth, and then we know about him when he was 12, and he talked back, you could say, I like to say, talked back to the rabbis, the learned ones. He asked a lot of good questions that stirred them up to think, which I love questions. And then we hear about him again. I know he messed around as a carpenter and stuff. We hear about him again, this is in the storybook, as he began his teaching, which lasted 3 years. 3 years, do a whole lot of stuff. And then he was out of here. And one of the things he has talked to me about is how we have misinterpreted that crucifixion story that gets hung on the wall a lot. And maybe some of you have had a crucifix around your neck or still do. And the tricky part with that was that very often people learn to feel guilty because they didn't pay attention. And they still don't today. Because he came to teach us to love everyone. Not just some, but everyone. Without exception. Everyone. That even when someone hurts us, psychologically or physically or whatever, we forgive them anyway. We love them anyway. And we eventually find out that no one and nothing can hurt us, and we are not killed or deceived when we're listening to the voice within, what I call spirit. By the way, Jesus was a listener. If you don't know the stories, he often, when the people were too much and they were crowding around, he would go off into the desert and he would fast and be quiet and listen and listen. I think some of us need a little bit more listening time, more desert time, more alone time, more quiet time, so that we can renew from inside. Another of the things about Jesus is he didn't stop and look at whether or not what he was doing was working. Meaning he kept just doing what he was doing and kept moving on, loving everybody. How much do you seek approval? How much are you trying to please someone or make up for mistakes? Or are you just doing the most loving job you can do every day with everyone? And perhaps the most important for today and what I'm talking about, primary teaching for me, I came that you might have life and have it more abundantly. So now I'm going to ask you what life is for you. Because I get that some people have forgotten what life is, really being alive. So on my way here, because we have this drive, an hour and a half through nature, without traffic and cars and all that stuff, I remembered special moments and special times, and I'm wondering if you remember. Do any of you remember walking in the hills or along a creek? Thank you. Do any of you remember what it's like to hold a baby in your arms for the first time? Are any of you ever moved by watching a sunrise as we did this morning? And the beauty of that new experience of life and light, as though you've never seen it before. And do you remember maybe when you either got your first pet, your puppy dog or your kitty, or those chicks on Easter morning? And how in love you were at the miracle? And how you wanted to be gentle and treat them with such preciousness? I'm really asking you to take even a millisecond just to remember the special times of new life for you. I think that we're sad, all of us, because we forgot and we're covering it up with stuff, with chatter, with things, with trying to do stuff, make people happy. And I'm just asking you to remember that place where there's life in you. And I'm talking about the soulful life, inside. Taking time just for a moment. I hear you in there. I love you and I feel your love for me. And when you rise up from that sacred moment and that special place, feeling new again, and by the way, if you don't remember, and if your life is filled with stuff and things and media and buying stuff and hanging out with friends and using the internet and all that, if your life is filled with that, I'm just going to say to you something's missing and you may not have noticed what it is. I came that you might have life and have it more abundantly. I came that you might have life and have it more abundantly. And when you come to me saying, Betty Lou, I came, Betty Lou, that you might have life and have it more abundantly, I know it, I receive it, and I value it. And the rest is just stuff and things, like the Easter basket, and the fuzzy marshmallow chickies, and the little chocolate eggs. I came for you. And I actually believe you came for me. But sometimes we forget. just to remember. So you're sitting in a group of folks right now. And each of them is sitting in your presence waiting for you. Meaning who you really are. And it doesn't have to have words, or hugs, or handshakes, or smiles, or exchange of food, or any of that. It can have, but I'm going to give you a little trick. Make sure you put your conscious blessing on everything you give to everyone. First thing in the morning, last thing at night. I bless everything and everyone with the best I know within me. And when you go to greet someone or answer the phone, what if you give them your blessing too? Doesn't have to be with words, doesn't have to be in a prayerful position. In your heart, you know you are there to love them as they are. Everyone, everywhere, all the time. Your life then becomes sacred, a temple, a vessel of good, a place of healing, a sanctuary. You are a sanctuary. You are the holy place. You are the risen Christ. Do you know it's not that far away? You don't have to clean up all your past. It's forgiven. The minute you say, God, it's yours, and you give it away and lay it down, it's gone. In this moment right now, you are the holy place. You are the healing presence. You are the Christ light. You are the one who came to say, I am risen in my consciousness, and I remember the love in me. And I'm hearing, so I'm going to say it, I don't need your food, and I don't need your money, and I don't need your hugs, and I don't need your gratitude. I need you. The real you. The love you are. And then I am filled with joy. Does that make sense? I think we're all hungry. We're hungry for truth, for reality, for love. Needs no form. It needs no form. It's okay if you want to give it form. It's okay if you're called to make a cake. I did. It's okay, whatever you're called to do. But it's you that matters. Your specific, exquisite, particular way of living the truth. Your truth. Your way. Yes, a lot of different religions, a lot of different truths, a lot of different scriptures, a lot of different paths, and yet underneath them all there is one singular truth, and that is the love you are, the creation of God that you came to be. And that's the holy gift of Easter. Rise up. Rise up. And be the living Christ, the light of God you are here to be. And I bless you and I love you.